What's going on, Torigano Tribe? Guys, we're excited to come back to you today. Today we're going to talk about blonding. Guys, listen, we're all out there trying to create hair color looks, and I am a firm advocate of permanent color. I love the idea of using more of a controlled hair color with a conditioning base that, takes us a little bit more time, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, 45 minutes. But I'm fully aware that we sometimes just want blonding, that we just want lighter pieces, that we just want lighter hair. And it is a product of choice for many of the colorists that are out there, advanced colorists, beginning colorists, and those that may do color, a few times a month or a few times a year. Today we're going to talk about just maybe 5 tips. 5 solid practices that I use to ensure better blonding, right? Inside of my clientele, inside of the salon, and with my color creations in the salon. First off, we want to talk about my primary choices for blonding. I'm not really a guy that uses a ton of different products any longer. I, like many people, grew up a product junkie, guys, and really wanting to try every single thing that was out there. But I learned quickly that gets expensive, right? And it gets confusing when you're trying to actually train others as well. So I learned to really think differently about what I use and find out what worked and stick with that, so I could train my staff, train my assistants, and keep a consistency with myself as I created blonding. Guys, my developer of choice, I really am a fan of Rusk. It has a great deal of peroxide that actually helps in lifting, but it's not so overpowering to overprocess or to be unstable. I like their developers. You'll notice that my favorites, as it were, which I use all of these in tandem, they're not all from the same line. I like Rusk's actual developer. I like the VeroPack Cream Lightener, which is fragrance-free, really controlled. I'm a huge fan as I've gotten older in doing hair color and being a little bit more neater. Sometimes, like with the sunlights, we'll talk about that in a little bit, we actually have to go with something that's more powder, but when at all possible, I love paste lighteners. They're just so much easier to control. So this one here, this is from Joico, guys. And a lot of times it's overlooked because a lot of times, again, guys, paste lighteners are not as promoted heavily like powdered lighteners, but I encourage you guys to try this cream lightener. It has a sky blue base or a blue base, so it even helps with toning down warm tones that you're lifting. Many of us are lifting dark hair out there, so try this paste or cream lightener by Joico. Guys, I love the toners by Pravana. They just got it figured out. Of course, many of us still love the Redken Shades EQ. Many people love the PM Shines, but I love the speed. When they say Express Tones, guys, by Chroma Silk, they are not playing, guys. Chroma Silk by Pravana, this actual Express Tones is express. So don't put it under the dryer. Don't walk away. Within 2 to 5 minutes, you can a lot of times get the tone with the purple or the violet, or the pearl is a wonderful toner. I love the natural, of course. There's even new tones like Moody Blue, Silver. So there's a ton of tones. There's over 10 different flash tones, guys, or express tones that you can use by Pravana. And as far as my balayage lightener, guys, man, Candy Shaw and her team at Jameson Shaw in Atlanta, they figured it out with Sunlights. It's just a wonderful control, easy to use, 1-to-1. Everything here, guys, is 1-to-1. Outside of the toner, it's 1 to 1.5. Man, the Sunlights is just awesome to use. And that's about it, guys. I use the 10 volume, the 20 volume, of course, the 30 volume. Believe it or not, I don't often have to use even 40 volume for lightener, guys. Always remember that lightener does not move like permanent color. You need 30 and 40 volume oftentimes to get those blondes that you would want in level 8, 9s, and 10s in permanent color, which takes 30 to 45 minutes to process. But lightener can move very quickly, guys, onto the hair depending on the porosity. So anywhere from 10, 20, sometimes 30, sometimes even finding developers that have a 5 volume can work great to get the tones that you want, be it caramel or chocolate or woodsy tones or even blondes. And again, the cream lightener is 1-to-1, very, very easy to understand and use with your measurements. The Sunlights, it's 1-to-1. It should come to a paste that looks more like toothpaste. Very, very easy to apply on any texture, curly, wavy, or straight. And these are my primary tools, of course, gloves, bowl, and brushes. All right, guys, first up, this is just a no-brainer. You definitely want to ask questions to your clients. And 2 questions you don't want to go without asking in the consultation are there any previous hair color applications on your hair, in particular demi-permanent color? Guys, we know that demi-permanent brown and black are the devil, right? They are the enemy. So at first glance, sometimes even as close as a foot away from the client, you can't always tell. Ask that question a bunch of different ways. Come through the chimney, come through the back door to make sure you don't have that on there, or you're going to be disappointed trying to lighten up the hair with blonding paste or lightener of any sort. And secondly, you want to know if she's natural or relaxed. We know that both can get hair color, but my motto is simple. You can color relaxed hair. You cannot go back and relax that same colored hair. You want to make sure that you go back, that you preferably go back on that client and only relax the new growth. If you try to go back and re-relax the hair that you've colored, that's where the challenge is. If you think about it, when a client or yourself has had breakage, it's not when you color the hair necessarily, it's when you try to go back and relax it. If the hair is natural, void of any hair color, and in its natural state, you know that makes it a whole lot easier to go in with the first chemical being a lightener or permanent color. Next up, number 1, guys, developer. Let's keep it low and slow. Let's make sure that we are not really over processing the hair, thinking that the hair is dark, that it needs 30 volume, 40 volume. Guys, sometimes 5 volume, 10 volume can do things so much. You can get so great of results from just using lower developer. Take your time. Remember, permanent color takes 40 minutes. It's almost kind of like it takes 4 years to go to college. So it's okay to take your time at a year program that's going to give you the same thing. So you're going to have it to be less time either way with a lightener. So if you can go in with a lower volume and get there slowly, take your time, you run a better chance of not damaging or ravishing the hair. What's next up, guys? Keep it cool. If you're doing darker hair, make sure that you're going in particular, many of us out there are dealing with hair that's level 5 and below, even hair that is lighter. It's still starting in the 7s or the 8s, but most of the world, you know what I mean, no matter the race, have, warmer tones, have warmer skin tones, have dark eyes. That's most of the world that's out there, guys. So you want to make sure that you're using violet lighteners, green-based lighteners, blue-based lighteners that can keep things toned in the lightening process, as well as using those cooler tones when you go back with your demi-permanent glaze, be it Pravana or Shea EQ or whatever lightener, with a toner that you like out there. But keep it cool, guys. Even with your permanent colors, guys, try your Ash series and your Violet series, and you're going to see a whole lot better results trying to clash against that warm hair like you saw in that particular foil right there, where you got that yellow tone coming up in her natural state. Next up, guys, let's really avoid heat at all possible. A lot of times we believe because the hair is dark, because we've been told that our hair needs heat all the time, that we need to do that, and we just don't. The hair is porous. Darker hair in a lot of instances, curly hair, extremely curly hair, guys, it is a lot. It could be a lot of hair on Brittany, my model right here, her head right now, but her hair is very, very fine per strand. So the idea of going in and needing heat all the time is a misnomer. The hair will lift without heat. I actually don't use heat most times, even with permanent color. I use it when it asks for it, meaning if it lifts on its own, good deal. I can take it up slowly with a low developer. I can take my time making sure I actually lift the hair properly and evenly, and I don't need heat to aggressively counteract, especially when you're using metal foil. So take your time with it, guys. Don't get impatient. I guarantee you guys, not rushing and being patient, guys, you'll love the results in the end. Thank me later. Guys, here's another thing I want you to consider. Keep it underwater. This is something that I would always instruct my staff to do. A beautiful display right here with that blonding, guys. And honestly, guys, you could get those different variant tones before I give the next tip by using the same bowl but different times, right? Applying it in one instance is a little bit later in the process, maybe using the same paste lightener, the blue lightener, but 3 different bowls and 3 different developers. Maybe one has 20 volume, maybe one has 5 volume, maybe one has 10. Maybe one you wait with the same bowl and let it decrease in strength first and then apply it, and you can get more golden. You see that splash of golden in the middle, and they're more cooler near her face, and you may see more ashy tones in different areas. So blonding can be fun, guys. It doesn't always have to be yellow and white. You can get blonde, to me, is anything past level 7.5 in my opinion. So khaki and the color of a box and the color of sand and the color of wood and, you know, a ginger is a blonde. All of those different variations you can get sometimes by just tweaking the time and the amount of developer or the developer that you choose to use. So getting back to keeping it underwater, I think this is so important, guys. When we're out there, make sure that you fully saturate. So many people, one of the main things that they're doing incorrectly is they are rushing with the application, and they're not saturating it fully. If you're going to use lightener, guys, as soon as it touches, it moves. So to get an even application, I think it's so important that we go in and keep it to where the hair looks like it's underwater. No gray spots, no dark spots. When you're painting it on there, it looks like the entire strand should be underwater or underneath the lightener paste that you're using. Guys, this is really going to help you because, again, with permanent color, everything starts at the beginning and everything hits the finish line at the same time because the hair color stops at 30 minutes, right? It stops at 35 minutes even with the developer. Lightener doesn't move like that. So to avoid harsh lines, to avoid those tiger stripes and those holidays and we missed a spot, don't get skimpy on the saturation, guys. When you put it on there, apply or create enough of the formula to actually place on the hair color so you don't run out, and don't get skimpy trying to be thin. Lay it on there thick to be sure that everything is white if you're using a balayage paste, that everything is wet and saturated if you're using a traditional cream lightener. Make sure, guys, that's a simple thing that you can do, and everything is going to change. And create your sections to be a lot thinner than you normally would. Sometimes we're putting not enough lightener on top of the hair, and we're using big sections. Thin see-through sections, underwater hair. Thank me later. I guarantee you'll love that end result, to avoid harsh lines, to avoid the holidays, and to avoid those spots so you can get more even application. Guys, last two, I really want you to always be already thinking about with your client to discuss take home. When you're applying color like this on Brittany, guys, you should be already talking to her in the chair about the color care setup that you have at your retail stand. You should be having her to take home with her whatever you're using in your salon. You should be talking to her in the chair. So if this is a $250 color service, if it's a $150 color service, whatever you charge, wherever you are in the world, you should have another $40 or better at the retail for her to take home, because now her color should have a different customizable shampoo that you suggest. The very fact that clients are still going out to stores, guys, Sally's and Ulta and these other beauty supply stores are online when we have them in our salon for hours at a time. It just doesn't make sense, guys. Let's make sure that we have the take home already ready, that you're talking to her at the station about it, and they're talking to her about it when they check her out at the front desk. And lastly, guys, I want you to place this on your hair color menu. I want you to place quick blondes and quick browns. Quick blondes, guys, is about, Valentine's is coming up, guys. Another great promo idea is Valen Blondes, having a blonding promo the entire month of February. But you can play this and you can use it for blondes and with browns. What do I mean by that, guys? Get about 10 or 15 foils and just lay them out. Get a scoop of lightener, get a dollop of lightener if you're using a cream, get your developer in there and make a paste enough for 10 to 15 foils. And then you tell the client you can get this for $5 a foil, meaning about $50, $60, add it on to any bob, blowout, long hair, bang, short style, wherever they want to place 15 foils, be it panels or weaved out foils. Guys, and if you use a 20 volume or maybe a 30 volume or maybe a 10, depending on how porous the hair is, you can get blondes. But remember, before it goes past to get to blonde, it has to pass the browns. It has to pass your brown series so you can get quick browns as well. Guys, you talk about a game changer. Guys, you're gonna get 60, sometimes up to $70 added onto any and every service, even lock lights. This can get very, very exciting, and it gives clients an option. who don't always want to go blonde, but they want to go lighter. So quick blondes and quick browns. Try it in February, guys. Try these tips. Use these products and take your blonding game to another level, guys, inside of your salon. Hashtag better blondes. I hope this helped, guys. I hope these tips can be used instantly inside of your salon, inside of your business, inside of your clientele.